Days after Apple unveiled the timing and lineup of its fall programming on Apple TV Plus, I should say, Disney CEO Bob Iger announced that he is leaving the board of the tech giant. Joining us right now to talk about the convergence of media and technology is Rich Greenfield. He's a partner at LightShed Partners, new firm. Glad to have you here, Rich.
Congratulations. Thank you. We're really excited.
Big new firm.
What do you think about Iger stepping aside? Was this destined to happen? It was just a question of when?
You know, Bob has done an amazing job transitioning Disney from sort of a legacy media company and giving people the belief, they haven't really shown it yet, but the belief that they can execute in streaming. That's really the company's #1 priority. And if you look at the company, I mean, I think it very much sets up Bob's successor in Kevin Mayer, who now is running all of the streaming services for Disney. And so as you look at kind of where Disney sits in the ecosystem, you know, Disney's coming into streaming just as Apple is basically coming out and saying, look, we need to move from a tech company. We need to have incremental services. We've done music pretty well. We're #2 in music to Spotify. We need to be a big player in video. I think it just makes sense that these two companies can't sit on each other's boards. I mean, there's just growing tension and competition. They're not direct competitors. I mean, Disney needs to be on Apple devices. I mean, there's definitely benefits to Apple from having a Disney app on an Apple TV. But there's just that underlying tension and war for time and wallet that sort of just makes you go, that makes sense that he shouldn't be on the board.
You don't want somebody in a related field who is listening in on all of your strategic plans going out for the year.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure they've learned a lot from each other, both ways, over the course of being on the board and seeing how Disney makes great content and how Apple focuses on making great consumer devices. But it just feels like that competition is getting a little too close for comfort from a board position.
Do you think, I don't want to start any guessing games, but you remember there was speculation a long time ago that Apple one day might try to buy Disney.
Sure. You know, the reality is, think about what Netflix and Apple and Amazon are all showing you, right? The way to break into video content is to spend a lot of money. You know, you think about the shows that are being created. Amazon's creating one of the most expensive shows ever made. The morning show with Jennifer Aniston, it's the cover of Entertainment Weekly this week. I mean, Netflix obviously has created lots of content now that we all talk about and watch, such as Stranger Things. You don't need to buy a studio. What you need to do is spend a lot of money on talent, like, you know, you guys are TV talent.
Which means maybe you don't have to buy another company.
You don't. I mean, I think, you know, the problem with buying a company, I mean, look, take the example of Disney and Fox, right? Disney buys Fox. They can't actually access the Fox movies for Disney Plus or for Hulu for years because they're headed to HBO.
No one's buying Disney. That would be
$250 billion.
That would be the biggest acquisition in
I think Apple's biggest acquisition to date is $3 billion, which is Beats, right? I mean, we're talking about a whole different size and
you'd
scale.
have to pay twice as much.
Look, our parent company tried to buy Disney many moons ago.
That was a long time ago.
Disney was a lot smaller.
They weren't our
Comcast was a lot smaller too,
Yep.
But look, I just think at the end of the day, you can enter this space by spending lots of money and really building a platform to watch content.
Are you a believer that Apple is going to succeed?
I am, actually. I mean, I think the market is so skeptical of Apple, but the reality is, think about it. Just, you know, you're not going to be paying for this. You buy an Apple device. Probably all 4 of us are buying Apple devices every year, whether for you or for someone in your family. That means you're getting this for free. You're not paying for this.
Just because they succeed, and I think Apple will too, it doesn't mean others won't. I look at Apple in an entirely separate arena than the rest of these because, like you said, I'm getting it for free anyway. It's not going to be part of my decision that I'm making.
Yeah, I mean, look, has Amazon crushed it in video to date? Yeah. No, I mean, I think they've been just okay. But again, you're not paying for it, and so I think the bar for success is lower.
Do you think from a regulatory perspective, it's going to get complicated for the Apples and Amazons of the world? And the reason I ask...
What do you mean? Explain, what do you mean by that?
So if you saw last week, there was an article in the New York Times that looked at the App Store on Apple and demonstrated that over the years, Apple advantaged its own apps over everybody else's. And there's a question mark in the similar way that, by the way, there was an argument 20, 30 years ago that Microsoft was advantaging its Explorer over Netscape, right?
Yeah.
And whether you think that, and whether you think, take Apple out of it, even in Amazon, is going to be advantaging its service, and whether that's going to make it difficult for actually hardware or tech players in one realm to get into some of these other places, or not that they can't be in these places, but to actually be able to leverage and take advantage of them the way you historically want them to.
I guess the answer could be maybe if you were really focused on a pure walled garden. If the only way to get Apple was on Apple devices, maybe I'd believe that. But when you look at what Apple's doing, is they're opening up for the first time. I mean, what's so revolutionary about Apple TV Plus? It's an Apple service that you can watch on a Samsung TV, on a Roku, anywhere you go, you're going to be able to watch this service. And so kind of that walled garden of where they have complete control over you, the customer, doesn't look the same as it's used to. Plus, think about the world you live in. Comcast puts, obviously, their content first and foremost. I mean, the video content that you subscribe to from a Comcast set-top box obviously takes preference over other content that you could get. And so kind of what I would say, I don't want to say walled gardens, but control over who comes first and populates isn't so much of a new thing inside the broader media space.